Nick Fuentes is this quite right-wing, young internet commentator who is apparently being persecuted by the regime. Now, I say apparently or I say reportedly because Nick Fuentes says that he is on the no-fly list. He says that he went to go on a flight to give a press conference in Florida, and the lady at the gate check said, no, you can't do that. And he said, why? Is this an airline thing? Is this a TSA thing? Is this a federal government thing? And she said, I can't give you any information on that. I can neither confirm nor deny that you're on the list, but you are not permitted to fly. I say apparently and reportedly because I've only ever met this guy once, and it was a dishonest interaction. He was deceptive in his dealings with me, and I didn't know who he was. And so I don't know. I don't know if his account is trustworthy. But I'm going to go on the assumption that it is, because skeptical as I am of this guy, I'm very, very skeptical of the federal government. And I'm seeing what they're doing to Rudy Giuliani, and I'm seeing what they've done to Donald Trump, and I'm seeing what they do to conservatives all the time. Consider, let's say, the worst opinion you could possibly have about this guy, Nick Fuentes. Do you really think that it is just that he is not permitted to travel? He, a guy who has not been accused of or convicted of any crime, to my knowledge, he should not be allowed to get on an airplane. But Patrisse Cullors, the head of Black Lives Matter, she is. She's cool. Runs an organization, runs a political movement that burned down the country last year. She's allowed to travel wherever she wants. She gets flown around to travel all over the place. But this guy, Nick Fuentes, is not, because he holds opinions that are radical and that the regime does not approve of. Patrisse Cullors holds very radical opinions that the regime does approve of. So she gets to do whatever she wants. And her movement, burn down the country, doesn't matter. Consider Nicole Hannah-Jones. Is that her name? Yes. Nicole Hannah-Jones is the head of the 1619 Project at the New York Times. Totally lied. The whole premise of the Pulitzer Prize-winning 1619 Project is the lie that the American Revolution was started to preserve slavery. The political philosopher Charles Kessler, during the BLM riots last year, he came out and he said, I'm going to start calling these the 1619 riots because I think the 1619 Project was responsible for it. Do you know what Nicole Hannah-Jones said? She said, I'm proud of that. Oh, great. Please, I'm honored that you would call these riots the 1619 riots. Claiming responsibility, bragging that she incited these riots. That woman is still allowed to get on an airplane, but Nick Fuentes is not. Yeah, but Nick Fuentes holds radical opinions that I find very distasteful. Yeah, sure. What about Nicole Hannah-Jones? She holds very radical opinions that I find very, very distasteful. And she's claiming to have incited these riots. But she gets, not only does she get to fly, something tells me she gets flown around all over the place. There is big money and big privilege for radicalism in favor of the liberal regime. And there would appear to be, again, I don't know if it's true or not, Tucker Carlson the other night, last night or the night before, mentioned this story, and he said the same thing. We haven't been able to verify if this is true. But it would seem that the right gets persecuted. And from what's going on with Rudy Giuliani, it would seem that the right, even a much, much more mainstream right-wing figure, former mayor of New York, former lawyer for the president, gets persecuted. And it would seem, you all know this, that the right-wingers in this country play by a different set of rules. BLM burns down the country, they face very few consequences. The horn guy jumps into the Capitol on January 6th and dances around the desk. All those people are facing very, very serious consequences, getting pinched by feds, told that it's an insurrection. The left burns down the country, that's a peaceful protest. The right goes in and disrupts the Capitol, that's an insurrection. Watching this speech last night, it was a very eerie feeling. I've visited Washington, D.C. many times since January 6th. D.C. looks like a war zone. It looks like one of the places that the liberal regime would occupy in the Middle East. Barbed wire up, fencing up, the military still there, National Guard's still occupying D.C. Joe Biden giving this speech to a muzzled audience in a mostly empty room. It made me wonder, is that What if this is not the insurrection? What does the insurrection look like? When I think of insurrection, I don't know. When I think of a coup, it doesn't seem very easily distinguished from what this is. Raises lots of questions about the difference between how the government is supposed to work on paper and the way the government works in practice. Hey, hold on. If by some strange chance we are still on YouTube right now, I need you to ring the button and smash the doodad and hit the gizmo. I don't know, man. I don't know what you youths say. Subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss a single video, because I'll tell you, the powers that be, they don't always love our content, okay? So just make sure you subscribe right now, ring that bell, and that way you will get to see all of these pearls of wisdom coming up.